It's interesting how the seed never fears the dark soil, how the flame doesn't question the wick, how the river doesn't resist the bend. For in each motion, evolution breeds. As you listen, whether consciously or not, you might begin to wonder, what happens when the old walls of judgment soften into doorways of perception? What if all the people you once avoided were reflections, not of threat, but of forgotten gifts you were too powerful to notice? Because every person carries a mirror. Some reflect your greatness. Some reflect the parts of you you've yet to embrace. And some, yes, some carry the very whispers of your own future mastery. But only if you stay present long enough to hear it. Maybe now you're beginning to remember how belief becomes biology, how thoughts ripple to the nervous system like wind shaping dunes. Now your old instinct, run, recoil, reject, was never fear of them, but a fear that you might still be influenceable. But now you've remembered who you are. You're the frame, you're the ground, not the figure. You're the magnet, not the metal, and the strongest frame always wins. So let me tell you a story. There was once a man who walked into a village. He saw the poor, the crooked, the tired, the worn, and his heart said, they'll taint you. But he smiled because he realized only that which is unintegrated can be corrupted. And so he walked into the crowd not to fix them, but to love them in wholeness, and by doing so, he became whole. Now it might sound like a parable or a memory. It doesn't matter which, because the unconscious knows when it's time to install a new operating system, and it's already started. Beliefs shape reality, so imagine now, what happens when your reality starts to reflect a core truth? Everyone has gifts. You're safe to be yourself. You don't get corrupted by others, you inspire them to rise. You stand your ground not by resisting, but by radiating. Can you feel that yet? The part of you that doesn't flinch when others wobble. The version of you that sees beauty where others see brokenness. Because your lens is love. And love is the most stable frequency on earth. Maybe you didn't notice this before, but you're always strong enough. Strong enough to sit with discomfort without absorbing it. To witness contrast without collapsing. To see difference not as danger, but as design. Because now, your belief, it's not just that people can change. Your belief is, you are the invitation for that change. So from now on, when you see someone unworthy, you smile. Not because you pity them, because you remember. You used to think that about yourself. And that old self, that old fearful, avoidant pattern, was just the younger you, trying to keep you safe in a world, the misunderstood power. Now you understand power. It doesn't push away, it pulls in. It doesn't judge, it transforms. Let me give you another example. Imagine standing in a crowded room. One person is angry, one is anxious, one is quiet and withdrawn. Your old mind might have whispered danger, discomfort, contagion. But your new mind says, mirror neurons don't steal, they reveal. So instead of recoiling, you stay still. Still like a mountain in wind. And in that stillness, you transmit calm, clarity, and compassion. Like tuning forks, the room begins to hum at your frequency. Because now you remember, emotional states are contagious. But so is grace, so is presence, so is strength. And your strength is not in isolation, it's in integration. You don't become pure by running from shadows. You become pure by shining light into places others forget existed. You're safe to love, safe to listen, safe to see beyond the surface. And the more you welcome others, the more you welcome the parts of yourself once buried beneath judgment. So just pause for a moment and notice, somewhere in your mind, perhaps behind a memory or beneath an old belief, a seed is cracking open, and from it grows a new idea. You don't need others to be perfect to stay powerful. You don't need agreement to remain aligned. You don't need sameness to feel safe, because now you stand in the center of your being, unshakable. You're the cause, not the effect. You're the author, not the echo. And all of reality dances to the rhythm of your chosen frame. Isn't it fascinating how the more you let go of fear, the more others let go of theirs? Isn't it fascinating how the script was never just words, but a mirror? A mirror showing you a truth that was always true. You're enough. You're safe. You're strong. You're whole. You're the one who gets to choose what sticks, what slips. Because from this day forward, you walk through the world as a lighthouse, never running from storms, just shining so brightly that the storm doesn't matter. Isn't that a beautiful operating system to install?